Also new for us here at 4, nearly 1,500 teachers out at Chicago Public Schools. The layoffs come on the heels of a doomsday budget with a $700 million gap to be filled. But CPS says today's cuts are not related to this year's deficit. CBS News Chicago investigator Dorothy Tucker here now taking a closer look at these cuts. Dorothy.
Well, Joe, as you said, hundreds of teachers, special education assistants, and even parents who help out in the classroom are impacted by these latest cuts. Let me break it down. The layoffs include 432 teachers, members of the Chicago Teachers Union. 123 of them teach special education students. CPS said the number of teachers cut this year is about 50 less than last year. But special education classroom assistants appear to be impacted more this year. In that job position, there were 677 layoffs announced today. They are represented by SEIU Local 73. That union saw only 404 cuts last year. In an interview yesterday, the interim CEO for the Board of Education did indicate the cuts were coming.
We have everything on the table, and what's driving the decision that we will ultimately come to: students first.
CPS insists the cuts are not connected to the deficit. School leaders say it's all part of the annual budget that shifts staff according to school needs.
Now, I want y'all to be very, very mindful of what we're seeing here, okay? I don't want you to be confused. I don't want you to misunderstand exactly what's being communicated. I want you to understand and see it for your own eyes. We're going to switch over to Mayor Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, and we're going to see what he has to say about this.
Mayor Johnson is doubling down on calls for the state of Illinois to fund Chicago public schools. The teachers union says it wants Governor Pritzker to allocate more than $1 billion to CPS. And today, the mayor is supporting that move.
The city of Chicago and districts across the state are not fully funded by the state of Illinois. Again, it's one of those areas where I'm going to need more people to get active, to challenge not just city government, but the state government as well, to fully fund our schools, because the crisis that we are experiencing is a crisis of the result of failures of the past.
So what the mayor is basically trying to convince you guys, this Democrat mayor who has spent an egregious amount of money on illegal migrants, is trying to convince you that it is not his responsibility. He's passing a blame. He's passing a buck to previous administrations. Never had anything to do with how he's handling the finances and the resources of the city itself. Hey, listen, we just gonna go to our daddy, the state, and beg for more money. And so while you guys over in Chicago, and again, I want you to come to me and tell me how continuing to vote blue makes sense for you guys. You are going to be laying off 1,400 plus more teachers, special education teachers, regular teachers. You guys are experiencing an additional $700 million more in budget and funding cuts to the schools separately from the $1+ billion deficit that they're experiencing in the city itself. Because I have to say these numbers so that you really fully grasp what is happening in your state, what is happening in your city, what is happening in your county, and what is happening in your community. So while they sit here and continue to gaslight you and tell you that crime is down, even though we've seen over 44 people get shot and 6+ people die over 4th of July weekend, while they sit there and tell you that it's okay and that they support the illegal migrant crisis and that they won't work with the federal government, while they continue to tell you that your communities are not under siege, this mayor, these aldermen, and this governor, J.B. Pritzker, including Brandon Johnson, is gaslighting you guys and trying to convince you that it is okay. They are raising taxes. They are adding additional taxes, bag taxes. They keep telling you that they're going to tax the rich as though they don't have the option to be able to divest themselves from Chicago altogether and move to a completely different state and then keep a residence over in Chicago. That is not how it works. You can't overtax yourselves. You have to manage the budget more effectively. And the fact that they spent hundreds, if not billions of dollars on illegal migrants during the Biden administration, yet they continue to go to you and tell you, you know what? Because our schools are not fully funded by the city alone, we are going to go to Daddy, J.B. Pritzker, who continues to be against the federal administration, who, by the way, in June had a $27 billion budget surplus because they took in more money from tariffs and other activities and cost cuts. They are trying to tell you that your children will be better off with less teacher, bigger class sizes, also immigrants inside of those classes, while at the same time having a budget deficit of over $1.14 billion annually. That means that next year it's going to be the same. Next year it'll probably balloon. Next year after that is probably going to be a budget deficit. And then they're asking you to take a haircut for your children to suffer, while at the same time they're telling you that crime is going to be down and they continuing to pour resources into your community. Okay. So here's their solution, because I don't want to just look at this one-sided. I want to make sure that we're looking at this holistically, okay? Here's their solution. They're going to the community. Hey, community. Community. How do you guys think that we can brainstorm in order to come up with a solution to fill this gap so that our children can still get the same level of education and compete in their future, while at the same time we don't have the money to do so, even though you pay taxes, you pay property taxes, but you're not getting the same level of service that you're supposed to be getting for the value of your dollar that you contributed to the federal government?
$734 million. That's the funding gap Chicago Public Schools leaders face in their next budget.
Tonight, they started to brainstorm solutions with parents, teachers, students, and others. Our Sarah Maki was there listening in. And Sarah, we're talking about a huge number here.
Jesus.
Right, a huge number. And here's another one, because this came just days after the district announced that they were laying off more than 1,400 workers, at the time saying it was because of delays in the budgeting process.
Delays.
Everyone agreeing that there will be tough decisions ahead.
Delays in the budgeting process.
Starting on a strong note, Chicago Public School leaders made their pitch.
This is the place where we need you.
Asking parents, students, and CPS staff
My school is a small magnet school.
for their ideas to fix the looming $734 million budget shortfall.
The money is there, so we need to tap into it. But
Where? Where, Miss Afro? Where? I know where it is. It's over with an illegal migrant that migrated back to and sent themselves and deported themselves back over to Guatemala.
A listening session where they didn't hold back the feedback.
I had to learn how to navigate my voice and speak up when it's something that I need.
Some participants surprised by what they heard.
I knew that we were in a financial deficit. I just had no idea how big that number actually was. So that was kind of alarming to hear.
District leaders say pension obligations, building maintenance, and services for students with disabilities are among the factors driving the deficit, giving some general money-making ideas for participants, like exploring TIFs, cuts to staff or programs, renegotiating contracts or furloughs and loans. But the ideas
Loans. Okay, let's continue. I just want to make sure that we're stopping this so that you can better understand. They're asking the community. They're not leading by being able to be smart business leaders, managing a budget effectively, and then creating opportunities for you to leverage technology or something like that, while at the same time reducing the cost for parents and driving more sustainability for how they continue to fund the schools. They're already laying off over 1,400 people, while at the same time, hey, they pitching regular everyday folk on how they supposed to fund the government, how they supposed to fund the schools, separately from the $1.1 billion, $1.4 billion that they are in a deficit for the city itself. This is schools also.
came from all angles.
Like, why are they just sitting there? Like, why don't CPS think about doing something with those buildings?
I like that sweater.
That's money.
nothing is mentioned about these marijuana shops popping up.
A growing chorus of suggestions, district leaders
Marijuana
tasked now
shops.
with turning them into one harmonious budget.
I feel like that the first thing that needs to happen is that we all need to get on the same page.
This is so dumb. This is so dumb, honestly. Literally. I mean, I just can't believe that we are sitting here having this conversation with you guys. But my question to end this one is what have the Democrats done for you lately? Make sure you guys tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. We just did a phenomenal live stream yesterday so that you can maybe send your kids to private school and you don't have to subject yourself to this nonsense. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description, and let me know what y'all think inside of the comments, because the last one there turned the lights out.